In this video, I will be demonstrating how to make a semi-classic bechamel sauce, which is one of the 5 French mother sauces and is milk-based. Now, I call it semi-classic because this is the most common version taught in culinary schools today, but there are earlier versions which we will check out in future episodes. Now, I'm going to start with a quart of milk and a little extra that we have here up front, just for thinning purposes if we need it. 1 whole clove will be part of our flavoring, as well as bay leaf. I have whole nutmeg, which will grate fresh, and a quarter of an onion. You also have salt and white pepper for seasoning. Now, classically speaking, 1 quart of bechamel is going to be thickened with 4 ounces of roux. And here I'm measuring out 2 ounces of clarified butter and 2 ounces of flour, which is the classic proportions that are commonly taught in culinary schools. And this is more to make a point than anything else. You don't really need to weigh out your roux. But here you can see as I combine the clarified butter and the flour in the pan, the roux is somewhat thick, but it is, in my opinion, fairly slack. Now, some people like their roux this consistency. I personally don't. So what I like to do is actually just eyeball my roux. I'll add enough flour to the clarified butter and mix in the flour until I get a semi-thick paste, basically, a medium viscosity paste that's still just a little bit fluid. And you're making a white roux here because you're adding it to a white sauce. So you're going to cook it only long enough to combine the flour and butter without actually making it turn color. Now you're going to turn that out onto a plate or just a pan to cool. Next, you want to heat up your quart of milk in a heavy bottom sauce pot, an appropriate size pot. And you're going to do this over a medium-high flame. And you want to make sure that you don't walk away, because once the milk comes to a boil, it will very quickly boil over and make a big mess. Now here, I'm just going to take a little bit of my roux. Once my sauce has come to just the point below a simmer, I'm going to pick it up with a whisk. And I'm going to whisk it into my milk and bring it back up to a simmer, check the consistency with a spoon, and continue to add little bits of my roux and whisk it in, continue to bring it back up to a simmer until I reach the appropriate thickness that I'm looking for. And the way that you test the thickness is you're looking for what we call a nappe consistency, which means that it coats the back of the spoon. And since we will be simmering this sauce, I only want a very light nappe, so just enough thickness to make a thin film on my spoon, just as shown here. And at that point, you're going to bring your milk up to a simmer and reduce the flame to its lowest setting so it doesn't boil over on you, because it will boil over quickly. And then you're going to take that bay leaf and stick it to your onion using your clove. Cute, huh? That's just what they teach you in culinary school. This isn't really necessary. And you're going to drop the onion studded with the clove and the bay leaf into your bechamel and simmer for about 30 minutes. And you want to make sure that you pull your pan halfway off of the flame or halfway off of your burner and simmer very gently over low heat. And you can see that back rim there. I have a couple of bubbles just barely percolating up on the top left-hand side of that pot, and that's about as much of a simmer as you want. After 30 minutes of simmering, you want to strain through a chinois or a fine mesh strainer, and this is going to ensure a fine consistency. And I like to tap it instead of push it through, because the tapping will make sure that I get all of the sauce through without pushing through any chunks. Then you're going to season with just a tiny bit of freshly grated nutmeg. The nutmeg is here to add depth of flavor. It's not here to actually make the sauce taste like nutmeg. It's more of a seasoning than a flavoring. And you're going to add in a little pinch of kosher salt, little pinch of white pepper, and you're going to mix these ingredients together. Now, the whole purpose of this sauce, because it is a French mother sauce, you don't want to add too strong of flavors or seasoning, because this will very rarely be used by itself. It's commonly used as a base to make secondary sauces or derivative sauces that are based on bechamel. Now, you want to taste for final seasoning. And in future videos, I will show you how to make one of the most common derivatives, which is a cheese sauce, also known classically as a Mornay. For more information, you can check out this episode's show notes by going to stellaculinary.com/SNS8.